You know those images online, magazine covers, film posters, even your favorite memes. Polished to perfection, airbrushed, sometimes surreal. Chances are many of them were created using Adobe Photoshop. But have you ever wondered, why is it called Photoshop? What's the story behind that name? How did it go from a modest academic tool to the gold standard of digital image editing? Today we trace the roots of Photoshop, from the basement of a student's dorm to global ubiquity. Strap in, right here on History of Simple Things. In 1987, a PhD student named Thomas Knoll was tinkering with code on his Macintosh Plus. His initial goal was simple: create a program that could display grayscale images on a monochrome monitor. This little experimental software went by the name Display. Thomas's brother, John Knoll, working at the famous effects studio Industrial Light and Magic, ILM, saw more potential. He suggested transforming Display into a full-fledged image editor. The blend of technical curiosity and visual effects sensibility birthed something new. Over a 6-month break from his studies, Thomas and John collaborated, turning Display into something bigger. As they refined the tool, they renamed it Image Pro. But they quickly ran into a trademark issue. The name was already taken. They needed something fresh. That's when they landed on a name that would define digital image editing for decades to come: Photoshop. Photoshop isn't poetic or metaphorical. It's literal. It's a workshop for photos. Break it down. Photo, referencing images, and shop, as in a workshop. A place where tools are used to create or fix things. It conveys exactly what the software was meant for: a digital darkroom or studio where images can be manipulated, retouched, and composed. They could have called it Photo Edit Pro, Image Master, or something flashy. But Photoshop felt right. Straightforward, functional, almost modest. And because it sounded like the digital analog of a darkroom or print studio, it instantly resonated with photographers, designers, artists. That grounding in real-world analogies helped. The name implied familiarity, as if you were stepping into a workshop where images get repaired, enhanced, transformed. That simplicity played a huge role in the software's identity. After christening their program Photoshop, the Knoll brothers struck a deal with a scanner manufacturer. Early copies of the program were bundled with the company's slide scanners. Roughly 200 copies went out under the label of a scanner bundle. That was the first time Photoshop reached hands outside the developers themselves. At that point, the computing landscape was harsh. Personal computers in the late 80s and early 90s often lacked memory, and few could handle heavy image editing tasks. That meant many thought Photoshop might stay niche, overshadowed by hardware limits. Still, something caught: the potential to reshape, retouch, reimagine imagery. That stuck. In 1988, the brothers licensed Photoshop to Adobe Systems. Adobe, already known for design and publishing tools, saw potential. They didn't just license it, they believed in it. A few years of refinement later, Photoshop 1.0 officially launched in February 1990, but exclusively for Macintosh. Even then, Adobe didn't expect a revolution. They thought maybe a few hundred copies per month. Nothing wild. Memory limitations on consumer PCs made broad adoption uncertain. Yet reality laughed at their modest predictions. As photography, especially digital photography, began rising, and as computing hardware improved, demand exploded. Photoshop had become one of the first killer apps, software that drove hardware adoption. People upgraded their computers just so they could run Photoshop. Photoshop didn't become dominant by accident. It evolved, pivoted, and kept adding what creatives and professionals needed. Over successive versions, it added features that transformed it from a quirky academic tool to an industry essential. In the early 90s, support for Windows came, broadening its reach beyond Mac users. In 1994, version 3.0 introduced layers. That alone changed everything. Suddenly, you could stack image elements, manipulate them independently, combine photos, more like a painter working on a canvas layer by layer. Over time, features like masks, color adjustments, advanced filters, paths, CMYK support, plugins, everything creatives, publishers, advertisers, filmmakers could dream of found their way in. This growth matched the explosion of digital photography, desktop publishing, and later, web design. Industries hungry for polished visuals, magazine publishing, advertising, film effects, web embraced Photoshop fast. Before long, to Photoshop became a verb. Not just jargon among professionals, but everyday language like Google or Xerox. People didn't just use Photoshop, they said they Photoshopped images. That cultural shift made the name more than just a brand, a verb, a standard, an expectation. Photoshop isn't just a name, it's a promise. For anyone who edits, retouches, or creates digital imagery, the name carries weight. It's a workshop for images. Open it, and you're not just clicking buttons. You're stepping into a space where every adjustment, every layer, every tool is used with intention. Unlike a flashy, abstract name, Photoshop grounds you in real craft. It reminds us that editing isn't just about adding effects. It's about shaping visuals with care and purpose. Before Photoshop, photo editing meant darkrooms, chemical baths, and hours of painstaking manual work. Every mistake could be permanent, and complex edits required incredible skill and patience. Photoshop changed all that. Suddenly, corrections, composites, and retouching could be done digitally, quickly, and with precision. Layers and masks allowed edits to be reversible, giving artists and photographers the freedom to experiment without fear of ruining the original image. Its impact goes beyond technical convenience. Magazines, advertisements, movie posters, and web graphics became faster, slicker, and more accessible. Tasks that once required expensive studios and specialized teams could now be accomplished on a single desktop. Photoshop transformed visual culture, changing how creators tell stories and how we perceive images. Even the name itself matters. Photoshop evokes a workshop, a place where careful, deliberate work happens. Every frame, every edited photo, carries a lineage from a simple grayscale experiment on a Macintosh to the global standard it is today. It's more than software. It's a creative space where imagination meets skill and where precision and artistry define the work. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.